What's up, chicken? Do you know that Path of Exile 0.3 got secret name? League of Deadeye. Yeah, Deadeye got insane buffs and Ranger is honestly the best starting class you may have in this league. Yeah, you will be competing for good bow weapons, but still it's really powerful even in solo self-found league. I will show you the only leveling build you need. Skill combinations, support gems, and passive skill tree. Starting from the beginning. Basically, you start the game and before reaching Red Whale, where you will unlock skill gem level 3, you got pretty limited options. However, Ranger got insane options to pretty much melt everything. The first skill we want to use early game is Lightning Arrow, and you're getting it basically for free if nothing changes. It's pretty easy and straightforward to use skill, converts a bunch of your physical damage to lightning and cannot chain, because it fires beam when it hits target, which will hit for full lightning damage and chain 2 times. Looks like this, and yeah, it's basically a super useful and cool skill. You won't one-shot everyone, of course, but it's just great. Still, you will start to experience a bunch of problems when you advance a little bit. That's where our second skill comes into play, Lightning Rod. It will convert all physical to lightning damage and will burst enemies when they're nearby and when you hit Lightning Arrow near Lightning Rod. Technically that's the combination. You could shoot this arrow, it's not doing like insane amount of damage, but when you hit, enemies will start to take extra additional damage. And technically you will play like this, you will shoot Lightning Rod and then arrows, Lightning Rod and then arrows, and just advance like this through the game. But there is 2 more options how you can increase your damage and make your life easier. I really recommend you getting Frost Bomb. While damage got nerfed in the recent patch, actually Frost Bomb will apply elemental exposure, and exposure will be insanely powerful. In previous patches it was cold exposure, but right now it's elemental exposure. This means all your lightning attacks will be a lot more powerful. And if you need extra help to clear down enemies, Flame Wall is your choice. Also level 1 skill. I don't have low level skill gems right now to show you, but just for you here is new character, so you may see how it works. You create firewall, shoot arrows through it, and you will ignite enemies, basically will have extra fire damage. Every projectile that goes through firewall will have this fire infusion, therefore more damage, and that's just insane damage amplificator for you. Knowing what skills is good is nice, but also it's not big of a deal without correct skill gems, I mean support gems of course. So talking about support gems, right now in patch 0.3 you will be able to get similar support gems on all your skills. And that's technically what we want to do. For easier mapping you want Martial Tempo, or it will be called something like Rapid Strikes. It's easier to find it with just looking for effect. You just want more attack speed. More attack speed on Lightning Arrow will give you just better quality of life mapping, and that's it. However, you won't find these options initially. There will be like Chain, Pierce, Scatter Shot options. To unlock more options you just need to press correct button. There will be checkbox on PC somewhere over here if interface won't change, or button that basically shows everything on console. And when you see everything, you basically will see everything, so we're going for more attack speed as I told you, but also there's nice choices like Lightning Infusion to have more damage as lightning damage, just to increase basically our damage output, and that's it. And basically we want to use concentrated effect on Lightning Rod to increase our area damage. Lightning Infusion on both of these skills basically will be nice for more lightning damage, and Martial Tempo on Lightning Arrow or also on both of the skills. But after defeating a boss in Red Whale and unlocking skill gem level 3, I actually always just remove the skills from my inventory, and they technically almost useless. While you may still play them in Endgame with good gear, they will be pretty powerful. When you reach level 3 skill gems, you will unlock Stormcaller Arrow. Here is the fun part, you actually won't need anything else to level up. It's insanely overpowered and great skill, but you may miss it on the first glance. There is like big significant reason for this. First of all, you will see damage and there's almost no damage, and you will think, oh, why do I do like no damage? Well, because damage is delayed. You will also may compare DPS of the skill, and it will be significantly lower than any other skill in your arsenal. That's again a little bit misleading. There is arrow part of this build, which is basic arrow, nothing special. It converts a little bit of your damage to lightning, and that's it. But also there is bolt part of this skill, and that's the skill that got insane DPS. It just melts bosses, melts everything, and super easy to use. What you need to understand how it works, or you will fail completely when you're leveling. I get messages from guys, they telling me that this build does not work. skill is awful. Let me explain why. Basically, when you shoot, arrows contact something. It's better when they contact enemy, and after a few seconds, there will be a big lightning on top. So that's where damage comes from, this lightning infusion. And how people actually mess up this build? Well, when going on passive skill trees, there's nodes that give you ability to pierce targets. Like over here, for example, there's fork, there's pierce. There's a bunch of pierce chance like nodes everywhere. Arrow pierce additional target and stuff like that. If you take piercing nodes, your arrows will actually pierce through enemies and stuck into the walls. They will never deal any damage. But if you have no pierce at all, you will shoot enemies and then BAM! No enemies. That's how easy it is. You just walk around, you shoot this, forget about monsters and they will die when you just walk away. That's how it works. It's insanely overpowered, easy to use, and just one button play style. I also recommend this style for hunters if you don't like combo play style. But also the skill scales really well, because you can scale with any added elemental damage like Primal Ornament when you unlock second level support gems in Act 3, Lightning Infusion for more lightning damage, and of course Concentrated Effect because our main damage source is Area of Effect. You will see that there is no extra damage from Concentrated Effect, but well, check over here, Bolt DPS right now 5500, we apply Concentrated Effect and it's 7000 DPS instantly. So that's insane OP, it just melts everyone. I'm showcasing this build right now specifically with bow, this exact bow that got no implicits, no like extra powerful skills, and we are not in Act 1, of course, we are like in Act 4 technically. So that's how your character will look in Act 4 with just one skill equipped. However, of course, there's a bunch of extra ways how you can increase your damage. From this point, you don't need Flame Wall, you can forget about it, but Frost Bomb is still viable. You don't need to upgrade it, just keep it. For Frost Bomb, add support gems that give you more exposure effect and more duration. That's it. Like Persistence, for example, will work. Now let's talk about our like continuation, how we can increase power of our skill. By the end of Act 1, you will unlock level 5 skills. One of the most common skills people use is Freezing Salvo and of course Barrage. However, Electrocuting Arrow got buffed. I really recommend you getting Electrocuting Arrow right now. So it will look a lot better, at least it should look a lot better. Right now I'm recording this at 0.2, but in 0.3 this skill will change. Look how it looks right now. I'm jumping, shooting arrow, so it's pretty slow, it's pretty weird, but in upcoming patch it will be basic shot. It will be just shot, no movements on the skill. And that's a really good one because you just attach it to monsters, most importantly to bosses. You start attacking with lightning and boss will be electrocuted, he will be basically paralyzed. Increase electrocution build up in the skill, you can increase damage and you will be golden. Another level 5 options is also viable and you also want to use them. Freezing Salvo is great, it will convert your damage to cold damage, and you of course want extra cold damage on top, so cold infusion, support gems, more freeze build up, and more chance to inflict ailments but higher cooldown. You don't care about cooldown because Freezing Salvo works like that. It charges, so it charges slowly, and when it's fully charged, around 12 charges, you will unleash it. After unleashing, it most likely will freeze boss or at least slow him down by like a lot. You can also use it on basic monsters, as you can see. It's pretty nice, and cooldown again is not a problem because every cooldown you will get your charges back. That's basically how it works. So Freezing Salvo, she's frozen, bam bam bam, she's out. That's how it works. Another important skill is Barrage, of course. Barrage is great, it will empower attack and you will shoot more arrows per frenzy charge if you got frenzy charges. Even if you have no frenzy charges, Barrage is great and you want to have premeditation to have more power for empowered skills, and ingenuity for less cooldown, but it's level 2 gem if I'm not mistaken, so we'll unlock it later. Anyway, that's how Barrage looks. You just pop the skill and you will see this green bow. Now whenever you shoot, you will shoot more arrows, and that's the big part. So shooting more arrows is just great because it will basically melt anyone who normally dies in 2 shots. It's basically destroying them in 1 shot because there's loads of extra lightning on top. And of course in Act 1 you will find this awesome skull that will provide you spirit. So for spirit, there's a bunch of options for this build. There's Herald of Thunder, of course. Herald of Thunder is great, and you want to add extra lightning damage on top of the skill. You want to have something like Inner Weight to gain more lightning damage whenever you kill a shocked enemy with the skill, Long Shot to deal more damage at range, And that's basically idea. You want to inflict extra damage. It works basically like that. First of all, you're inflicting shock to enemy, then you're getting these charges. So here we are. We got 3 Herald charges. Now, next 3 attacks will summon extra lightning on top. You will see it instantly because it will be just extra hit before final lightning. That's how it looks like. So first 2 guys was defeated with Herald attack actually. Just imagine this with our barrage, and that's how it looks like. It's just crazy amount of extra lightnings, and we just real lightning bringer, Stormcaller, Archer, call it however you like. There is of course optional stuff. Combat Frenzy got nerfed, but still it's nice way to gain Frenzy charges. Whenever you freeze, electrocute your enemies, you will gain Frenzy charges, and that's again got nice synergy with our build. So, Herald of Thunder is great to clear down basic monsters, but if you're going to play against bosses, if you want to have more damage versus bosses, then Combat Frenzy is your choice. So why Combat Frenzy is so good? Well, look, we will freeze these targets right now. I'm gaining 2 Frenzy charges right now. I will try to freeze them once again, and I will freeze them of course. Now I got 3 Frenzy charges. Now, with 3 Frenzy charges, my barrage will deal and launch a lot more arrows. So I'm launching my barrage, and then look, bam 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 bam, it's basically a rapid fire crazy attack. This definitely helps to fight bosses, but again I recommend you sticking with Herald of Thunder for clearing. Another buff that you may like is Wind Dancer. Wind Dancer is great, it will provide you with extra protection. For support gems I'm not sure, probably Wind Wave, and some of them I got removed, but basically it will anyway provide you extra evasion, so you will evade more attacks. It gathers charges every few seconds, and at max charges it gives you max evasion. Here's the fun part. Technically this build is like ready, you don't need anything else to work, and this is really like flexible one, so you may start trying and testing new skills, having some fun, you know, play with different abilities, and that's what I'm aiming my leveling builds for. They work no matter what, they work on any class, they work with any gear, with any like uniques. You just can't mess them up. However, there's a bunch of ways how you can improve the skills, of course, and there's none other than level 7 skill Voltaic Mark. Voltaic Mark is great. So Voltaic Mark is marking your target for a few seconds. Hits against this target will have more chance to shock and increased effect of shock. So basically we will increase magnitude of shock effect. What is shock effect, you may ask? Well, it's extra damage for our target. Whenever target is shocked, he will take extra damage on top. Very good against bosses and strong enemies. As support gems we will use persistence, so this mark stays for longer. Make sure to check names, because most importantly again is effect, not the name. Names will be changed in 0.3 on some of these gems. Then we got lasting shock to increase shock duration, and lightning exposure. That's the big one. This should be a rename of this skill. Probably it will be just one support gem that will be called elemental exposure. But basically whenever you shock your target, you will inflict elemental exposure. That's the big one, and that's actually the time when you can basically forget about Ice Bomb. I really recommend trying to keep Ice Bomb in your arsenal. Frost Bomb is basically so good right now in this patch. It's very powerful source of exposure, and exposure is just really good. But right now you can just use your Voltaic Mark, mark your target, and whenever we shock him or her, she will be pretty much inflicted with a really powerful shock. How powerful? Well, just look here, bam bam bam, and she's almost out. Yeah, you can't apply 2 marks at the same time. Probably you will be able to do it with certain ascendancies, but another way to gain frenzy charges is Sniper's Mark. You will mark your target with Sniper's Mark, hit them a little bit. If you land a critical strike, you will gain frenzy charges. So another source how you may improve power of your barrage. Technically that's the build, it's super easy, straightforward, like easy to use, easy to play. When you finish leveling and go into endgame, into mapping, you can easily continue playing like this. I played like this last season and it's just awesome. Can clear all the content, or you can start playing with different combinations of Lightning Rod and Stormcaller Arrow. Another really powerful one is Tornado Shot. Tornado Shot is pretty fun one. I will recommend using Scatter Shot on it, or even without Scatter Shot, it's pretty fun. So basically you're shooting this tornado, it's doing almost nothing, but whenever you shoot into the tornado, it will spread your arrows. Just look over here, so we're coming close and we're starting to shoot through tornado, and it basically shoots loads of arrows. So you want to create like a bunch of tornadoes with scatter shot and then shoot it. If one tornado shoots into another tornado, it's basically like double, triple shot on bosses and enemies. So why I'm not using tornado most of the time? Because it's a little bit hard to use on controller, and I like to chill, hold A button and destroy everything. That's how you can play this build. Last but not least, our passive tree. So basically forward to get more projectile damage. I like attack speed. You can get more projectile damage, it doesn't matter too much. And basically we're going for projectile damage and attack speed. We're forgetting these nodes instantly. It's nice to increase our clearing speed because there's movement speed over here, but it's like 4 points. Don't need to do it instantly. It's better to invest everything in damage first. Then we're going to this bottom part to increase chance to inflict ailments and have increased damage against targets affected by ailments, which is shock basically. So we have higher damage. Then we're going over here and basically getting increased keyword effects. This will instantly increase our power, since keyword will be almost double efficient. This part will give more attack damage and elemental damage with attacks. Then we will get somewhere here by the end of Act 1, and we will be able to get more movement speed over here. At this point I really recommend even getting movement speed over here, so you'll be extra fast and clear campaign faster. And also this node over here will give us more power. Basically increase chance to shock, increase elemental damage at the same time, and then increase damage for each type of elemental ailment on enemy. This is insanely powerful with my build. Well, for one single reason, we got elemental ailment, which is freeze, which is chill, it's all elemental ailments. We got shock from Stormcaller Arrow, from any like Lightning Arrow, and from Firewall we got ignite build up. So technically we got 3 types of elemental ailments on enemy, and we increase our damage by 15% for each of them, so it's plus 45% extra damage, and that's just insane. So where to go next? Basically just go outwards and get everything over here in a bow tree to get more damage, and that's it. Also here is another movement speed node and a little bit of attack damage and chance to maim on hit. Since we're using Herald, if you're using Herald, make sure to get this Coming Calamity to increase damage by using Herald skills, but I saw this one got splitted. I don't know how it will look on the launch day, so be careful with this node. There will be 2 optional nodes. We're looking to increase our damage by 50% if we're using Lightning Herald of Thunder basically. And then you can just go over here to increase power of keyword, more attack speed, evasion, basically everything you like. And there's more projectile nodes over here, but that's more like late gameish stuff. For leveling you won't go over there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, but if you don't want to compete for Ranger gear, because gear will be super expensive, you may want to play Mercenary, and I got nice leveling build for you. I'm also starting as Mercenary, will be streaming on Spot the King 1 channel with the blue avatar, so make sure to subscribe here and there, and see you in the next one.